Welcome back to the Two Wheel Boss channel. Here we focus on motorcycle safety, motorcycle slow speed operations mainly. That's where most of the folks who ride motorcycles have less comfort with slow speed operations. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about installing some motorcycle drop guards. I ordered some recently for my new bike, and they're really handy to have for when you drop your bike at very slow speeds. I don't know if you guys have probably seen my Road King before on other videos, and one of the things I wanted to show you was this set of drop guards that for my Road King here, they are simple O-rings, or simple collars, I guess you call them, that attach to the engine guards, the engine guard bars, whatever you call those things. And they just use some screws, some bolts or screws, whatever you call them, that hold these onto the bar. Same thing with the back. They are the colors are a little bit smaller, narrower bars. Same thing with the other side. Well, for my Ultra that I recently got, I don't have those colors yet, or the drop guards, and that's fine. I mean, these bars will protect the baggers from getting scratched up or broken when you drop the bike at slow speeds. But I like the idea of having a little bit of scratch protection. I mean, when you drop it, you'll get scratches down here, not easily seen, but I wanted to get some drop guards. And for this Ultra, I thought I might have the somewhat nicer looking drop guards from motorcycledropguards.com. I'll put a link to in this video, but it's slightly different than the colors that I got. These colors are very useful. They've been, in fact, I'll come to the other side, you'll see that they've been actually dropped and used a bit. You can see the bit of wear on that back left one. So I forgot to mention the purpose of these drop guards for some folks that may not know about them. When you drop your bike at slow speeds, say in a parking lot or while you're doing slow speed practice, the drop guards, or rather the engine guards, these are the engine guards, the bars that guard against dropping and hurting the engine. These guards on the bottom will get a little scratched up, you know, when you're moving and you drop your bike. Obviously the pavement or concrete will scratch it up a little bit. Not a big issue. I mean, it's really generally on the underside here where it hits and scratches. But if you want to avoid having to replace these things, and especially on my Ultra, I don't want to have to take all this off just to replace that bar. Not a big deal to scratch it, but anyway, I love the idea of having some protection on those bars, so that, and the same thing on the back here, and this is the one that will really have some issues with scratching, because from what I recall, the back bars, the back area of the bike tends to scrape more if you're dropping the bike. Anyway, same thing down here, you'd have scratches. Obviously this bike I don't think it's ever been dropped. I got it, had a little over 2,000 miles on it. Anyway, so it would prevent scratches there. And there's the primary cover will have a drop guard right here installed on those two bolts. So I just wanted to explain the purpose behind the drop guards. There'll be one on each side of the back and one on each side of the front, and one on the primary. So I got the front guard and the rear guard attached and halfway installed. And I say halfway because what's important is if they're in the right spot, right position on the bar, you want to contact probably close to the middle of the guard as possible, I guess, when it comes around. Same back here. But most importantly, I want to make sure that this edge of the fairing is protected from falling by this guard, because with the bar, I never actually dropped this bike yet without these guards, But my concern is this fairing might have been scratched or cracked. That's why I got these things. So, in my experience, the best way to test to make sure that that this fairing is gonna be missed if this thing drops is put a straight edge between this drop guard and that drop guard. I'll bring the camera over here in a minute, but in the place that it will contact, it looks like the guard's being missed, which is exactly what I want. So here's straight edge, one side there, one side there. And as you can see, the important aspect of these drop guards is right about there for where I see the drop guards being the most effective, or rather where they're going to be contacting the cement. There's a little bit of gap there on the fairing. That's exactly what I was looking for. So fast forward a little bit now, and I have the left side on. The left side drop guard was much the same as the right side front drop guard like that. The left side front guard, anyway. So fast forward a little bit, and I have the left side drop guard installed. The left front is much the same as the right front, where I wanted to make sure that there's a little bit of a gap between the top of the nut there and the fairing. There's a little more than needed, but that's only because when you tighten this down, it pulls this together and pulls that away. But it's fine. And this is about the same distance. And well, I compared the angle of that drop guard with the angle of that drop guard, and they're pretty close enough. And the reason I did that is because, well, it makes sense to me that the bike is going to lay down generally the same angle between both sides. But anyway, same with the back side. I had to finagle a little bit to get in there, but looks like it's good to go. I put this at the same angle pretty much as the other side, same idea. So now I'll move on to the primary cover. You can tell you can see there's a couple of bolts that have to come off, and those bolts will be replaced by those bolts inside this primary cover that sits under this guard sits under the primary cover, and of course this side will be facing the ground. So we'll put that on next. So I got the drop guards installed. I think I showed that in the previous clip, the front left and the rear left guards. But I also wanted to show the primary cover drop guard. Had to remove this screw. So this is the old screw that came out. And same over here, old screw, where the old screw came out. So one more thing I wanted to show in this install was it's called a gun magnet. I think I got it off of Amazon. It's strapped to the frame of the bike, and the purpose of this is to basically hold up your kickstand, because as most slow riders, slow speed enthusiasts can attest to, it's actually pretty easy to ground down your spring. And so I took really 3 measures for that. I guess 3 measures. First of all, I bent this bracket up a little bit so that when you're low and doing an extreme lean, this particular bracket doesn't stick down so low, and then this tip doesn't grind off. Now I say this tip, but most Harleys come with this spring installed the other way. So this hook will be flipped around. And then as that kickstand is up, the top of this hook is actually down here, and it grinds off if you're doing extreme leans. Once top of that hook wears down enough, the hook will obviously pop open and the spring will come off. Spring comes off, you now have a problem with the kickstand coming down, and nobody wants a kickstand falling down when they're riding. Way too dangerous. So a combination of bending this bracket up to keep the spring from grinding too quickly, with number 2 flipping the spring hook around so that the tip grinds off rather than this here, and the strong magnet, they call it a gun magnet, got it from Amazon. Combination of those 3 things, you really shouldn't have a problem with the kickstand falling down when you don't want it to fall down. Now, so keep in mind, this magnet here is here for if and when the spring ever pops. If the spring doesn't pop, the gun magnet is not really useful. It's just there as a, I guess we call it an insurance thing or whatever. The little zip ties I need to cut off. I actually can't find my side cutters right now, so I need to go look for them. But in the meantime, I just wanted to show you this quick video to add to what I installed today. A magnet, spinning the spring around, bending the bracket up, and my drop guards along with that really cool primary cover. So now the bike is on its left-hand side. Set it down the left-hand side. I put the towels down just to avoid scratching the drop guards. I mean, you know, they're there to be scratched and to catch the bike, but why scratch it if I don't need to? See, they're both touching the towel. But I wanted to show how useful this primary cover guard is going to be. It's barely touching the ground, the one side. So I'm a little out of breath because I just put the bike on its side, and it's a heavy thing to deal with when you're not actually rolling the wheels. But anyway, there is the primary cover drop guard installed. And actually you can see that the kickstand, what do you call that thing? The thing that you kick the kickstand with to putting it up, that's actually touching the ground. I don't want it to, so I need to bend that back up a little bit. Anyway, there you go. So that's it for today, guys. I just wanted to share with you real quick my experience of installing the drop guards, and I've never done that with this particular drop guard before. There was a lot behind the scenes that I didn't show, but you don't want to watch that all. They're trying to figure out where things fit and sliding them into place, etc. Showed you kind of the high points, the highlights, and also the magnet. I wanted to show you the magnet, but I wanted to show a video, an explanation of what that magnet's for and how it keeps you from having a problem with your kickstand if the spring ever breaks from doing extreme leans. So that's the installation video for the day. Thanks, guys, for joining.